I had a suspicion. How I told you that on, I don't know, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I had a suspicion we were going to ratchet this bad boy up. I figured, given the fact that I know the coaches are off for the holiday Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which means the team is off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So everybody gets a chance to be with their family and relax and do all of that. I thought, I wonder if they'll make Thursday a pseudo scrimmage, like a little bit more intense, a little bit more game-like. Will they just get after it on Thursday since there's going to be a lot of downtime? You think about it, there's not another practice till Tuesday. So you got a lot of time. It's not just the holiday weekend. You got Monday as well. So I would guess that they would, and they are. They announced that they'll practice today at Doak Campbell Stadium. And they didn't say that, hey, we're going to get after it. But I think that's what it means.
Well, what's interesting is it's a little bit shorter of a practice.
So if you're going to do game-like stuff, you skip all the nonsense. You can skip over all the nonsense where you're like, oh, this is a waste of time. Let's get to it. So I think they're going to get to the getting, my friend.
I'm okay with that.
You and me both, buddy.
Last year, my favorite practice was the Thursday before the spring game because they surprised the players. They tipped off the media that it may be coming, but they weren't sure if they were going to do it. But they take their water break at the midpoint, which was after period, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
Yeah, yep.
And then they surprised players, said, all right, let's go run into Doak. And they all went nuts.
Oh, they were pumped. They were pumped. Players love it. Think about it. If you were a player, though, that you would, wouldn't you? I mean, the opportunity to step on that field anytime you can, it's the Mecca.
So you've got about 100 dudes just roaring, excited, and jogging with pretty good speed.
Intent.
From the practice fields over to Doak. And then we got to watch. They played the Warchant on loop like 8,700 times. Which was a
little much.
Reminded me of my undergrad years when they would play it
after for nothing.
Gain of 8 against us. Gain of 22.
Oh yeah.
3rd and 7.
Fire it up, everybody! Fire it up!
Yeah, you're like gain of 44. Great.
Hey, never go to a game in Knoxville. Rocky Top.
All times.
It's ridiculous. 2nd and 7. Jesus. It's 2nd and 7.
Hooker up the middle.
Yeah. 8 of 2. Yeah, you're like, sweet Jesus.
But they played the goal line drill. Buddy, I am hoping that we get the goal line game today. 1st to 10. 1st to 10 from inside the 5. Stops or scores.
Yeah, it's fun.
That was awesome. And I wish they did it for the spring game. And I will keep crying to the heavens. Coach Norvell, if you're listening on the way in after maybe some lunch, maybe you went out for a quick lunch, do that for the fans on spring game Saturday. People would love it. They'd go nuts for it. But I hope we get to see it today.
I hope so too. Check our sound. Apparently my audio sounds garbled for some. I don't know if that...
I bet that fixed it.
I think we fixed it. Have we fixed it? Those of you in the chat keeping tabs of the sound, I hope that is correct. And by the way, I don't say that, as a cynic. I'm happy that you do that. If we have audio problems, we like to know it. The operation's weird because we have to connect like a gazillion wires to make everything work for YouTube, podcast, and traditional radio.
And it is fixed.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. That would be annoying, admittedly, if I were listening via YouTube. I'm like, what are we doing here? Can't hear the host. This is ridiculous. But it happens, so we're all set up now. Hey, I legitimately, I thought about this. I had a friend ask me a question. He's a regular listener to the show, you know him. And I don't know if he's going to get upset about me reading this, but I will read it because I think it speaks to where we're at. He said, I'm kind of curious, Jeff, does the basketball and baseball teams being terrible, do the basketball teams and baseball teams being terrible this year, do they make your job harder in the football offseason? Or does the football team being good again do a lot to mitigate all of that? And it's just okay to talk football from now until August. And, I thought about that while I was answering the question. I think it certainly is the latter there. And I don't always love that because I don't want to talk about Florida State football every day. I don't. At some point, I like talking about other things, and we do. But in this case, And we know the numbers. The numbers, football plays, baby, year round. You can talk football every day if you wanted to. I don't think it's great for my show overall, but I think, the numbers do well for that. So when I was thinking about this year, it works. It really works because everybody is excited about football. We're all finally back at a place where even the most jaded amongst us would recognize football's good. Like, that team's good. How good is the debate? Not if they are good, how good. And we get into the degrees by which we judge, critically. Are you overreaching there? Are we being a little bit nitpicky about the third string right guard? These are the kinds of things we get into. And again, I'm going to maintain that if you're trying to talk about this team as if they have a chance to win a national championship, well, then you have to compare and contrast this team's depth, talent, versatility, etc., coaching, to those that we know can win a national championship. Like, for example, Georgia, who's won back-to-back and are right up the road. So you're recruiting against that team, just like you're recruiting the rest of the SEC footprint. And several of those teams in that conference are capable of winning a national championship, at least two. All right. So that's how we now judge this team. That is the standard. That's what you're holding them to until you can prove that you are kicking down that door and you're capable of doing that. Then that no longer becomes the question. If you prove it, now, I'm not saying you have to win it, but you got to be good enough to win it. You have to showcase evidence that you're good enough and that is the new norm, that moving forward, that's just what you are. You're going to be perennially within reason. I mean, nobody thinks every year Alabama's going to win the national championship, but they do go into every year as a preeminent favorite, as somebody who could, as one of the 3 or 4 teams in the country that you would include on the list that could win. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. Recently, it was Clemson. I don't know if anybody thinks that right now, but Clemson, that's about it. Usually 4 to 6 teams any given year where you're like, yeah, they could. For a while, it was Oklahoma. They were on that list, right? So that's where you have to get to. You have to get to that club. For FSU to be operating at peak efficiency, for us to be right, to be where we want to be, where the expectation is, you can call it unreasonable if you want, but that's the deal. So when you get into that club, then we no longer talk about like the degrees of good. We just look at 2 or 3 games and go, can you win those? Because if you do, you're going to play for the national title. That's it. That's where you're trying to get to. So every time we go out there, that's what I'm judging it by. I'm judging it against that standard. Just again, I reiterate this a lot.
It's interesting because you are the one that pumps the brakes on this year's expectations.
Correct, but not because I'm telling you I think they can win a national championship. Right now, I don't think they're good enough to win a national championship.
Right. But I live in the middle, whereas, I think my expectations for this season are higher than yours, but I'm not going to judge it against national championship level program.
Well, that's a very, very small window that you're in.
It's called playoff caliber. It's called,
I think
the team that gets blown out every year in the playoff. That 3rd or 4th seed in the playoff, I think that's where we can be. Now, perhaps they can exceed that and be a true contender. But I think that's the target. The target is not to be a 10-win team that plays in the ACC title game alone. I don't think that's enough. I think the target should be making the playoff. We have so many veterans. If we had half as many returnees that were key players, then I might lower the expectations a little bit. But Jordan and Trey Benson and Fabian and a lot of these guys, Tatum, if we didn't, we lament what we don't have at linebacker, what we aren't at linebacker. But what if Tatum didn't return? Then we'd be really, really talking about the situation at linebacker.
I'm still talking about it. I don't like our situation.
You'd like it less, though, if we didn't get that guy to come back. It's just all these key returners. It is, to a degree, Johnny, I suppose, but he would have had an excellent combine with all of his measurables. All of these guys coming back for one more go. You've got a lot of veterans that you brought in from the portal that are 1-year mercenaries. This is it, man. Next year is going to be a step back where I think 10 wins is acceptable, and that should be the goal. Yeah. This year, though, it's about the playoff.
What I want to look at, the way I want to view this, like if I had my way, if things arrived to the place where, all the climbing that we're doing, we got somewhere near the top, to the top floor there. If we did all of that, then years where you had to break in a new quarterback, the way that Alabama will be doing this year, would be years where you'd say, well, I don't know that we're going to, amongst the fan base, where you'd say, well, I don't know that we're going to win the national championship this year because it is a new quarterback. But we're not going to suck. I mean, we're going to be really good because we're loaded everywhere else. So if you, like, nobody at Alabama thinks they're going to suck this year just because they're breaking in a new quarterback. But they might say, we'll see. Maybe not national championship this year. That's where I want us to get to. And that, so when Jordan leaves,
yeah,
and we go over to Ireland for this first game against Georgia Tech,
1-0.
When we're watching whomever it is playing quarterback, which I also think is up for debate and a lot of fun to have a discussion about, whomever it is that's playing quarterback, I want to sit down at that stadium with my pops and family and you and everybody else that's going and go, well, this is a win, but what do you think? 11 wins? 10 wins? Probably not playoff contender this year, but, certainly a conference champion threat. That's the kind of conversation I want to have.
Yeah, I think that's reachable. I think that's reasonable for next year. It's just when Alabama has a down year, they fall to like 5th or 6th. That's about the farthest that they can fall in the final top 25 ranking. For us, I feel like this year's goal is to be top 4 when it's that selection Sunday show for the college football playoff. And then next year it's top 10, top 15. Like, we're not at a place yet, I don't believe, where we can replenish on that level. I think our NIL game is robust enough that maybe I'm wrong there. But I just looking at it, where we stand right now, you check out the roster for this year, all of the veterans that are going to go from this group that we're about to watch today to this time next year, top 15, I think, is the goal next year. That's why I feel the urgency of 2023. I feel there's an urgency in the air. It's funny. Some are happy that we're arriving and they're just happy to be here.
You can do both.
Some look at the big picture, and this is what you're looking at, which is I want to have the capability to reload on the fly and be a playoff contender year in and year out. I agree with those sentiments to a degree. But I just think that next year's drop-off is going to be significant enough that now is time to get with the get. This is your shot right here.
It's weird. It's just such a small little, if we did the Venn diagram, it'd be fun. But I mean, like, where you and I are, we're standing right next to each other, yet we're not occupying the same space.
Correct. Yeah, there is disagreement here.
Slight. It is ever so slight. Like, right. I can feel your shoulder. We're right there. We're right there next to one another. It's like, what do you mean 10 wins isn't enough? Well, if we don't win the conference championship, that won't be enough at all. I agree with you.
Oh, you do?
Well,
okay. Then we might be, this Venn diagram might just be a circle.
Yeah, it could just be. We could just all be in it. It's time. It is time, isn't it? It is time to win the conference championship.
Yes, it is. It's past time.
Because we think
this library book is overdue, sir.
By the way, this is funny. So I'm making a concerted effort right now to get rid of things. I've got too much stuff.
Have you made the call to the guy?
It's coming. I have to have my ducks in a row. Let me explain this to everybody.
He might be dead for all I know.
Let's hope not. But let me explain this really quick before we get a break and we'll get back to this conversation. So luckily my wife does not listen to this show. And anybody who does listen to this show and has access to a conversation with my wife, please do not mention this part of the show. All right? Because I'm going to reveal something to you. And that includes any of my kids that are listening later on. All right.
We're going to put a circle of trust on the visual screen so that people understand that this is privileged information.
Some people that listen to this show see my wife every day. They just need to leave it alone. All right? Just, hi, Mrs. Cameron. Keep walking. No Jeff Cameron show, nothing.
It's on the screen, so now it's ironclad.
Okay? So I think we've got too much stuff. I'm tired of it. I'm quick to throw away guy. I'll throw your stuff away. I'll throw it away. I won't ask questions. The family knows this about me because I've had to lay down the gauntlet with my kids. If that's sitting here tomorrow when I come in and it's not put in its proper place or you're not using it and it's been a year, it's gone. It's getting donated to somebody who will use it or it's trash. That's it. So they know. They're like, okay. They get it. like Clark and Bryce will be, oh, damn, he's serious. He will throw it away. I'll find that in the trash tomorrow. The big can out front, not the kitchen that you can salvage. It's gone. I'll bury it under some leftovers. So,
wow, you go
you're not getting it back.
Next level.
I'm tired of it. Let's get rid of it. So I want to declutter. Feel like we have too much stuff.
Still had cats. You could have put it under the litter.
We don't have cats. So I've gotten to where I want to just make sure that I'm capable of lining up the things that I believe are no longer necessary for the Camerons to have in their garage. All right. My wife has a very real disagreement about those things. She believes that items so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so we need to hold on to. I say they're of no value. They're useless. We should get rid of them. It's just nostalgia. I got it. If it were like, if that was a painting that your great grandmother finished in 1898, I'm not tossing it. But if it's a chair, an effing chair that has been sitting in the garage since we got married, we've been together 20 years. We've been married for over 17. That chair has sat right the hell there this entire time. Nobody has sat their ass in that chair in going on 2 decades. What is the point of us holding on to this chair? What, because you remember it when you were 9? It's got to go.
In that chair sits Miami football's ACC championships.
So, what I see those things. And then, by the way, I'm willing to come to the table, Tom. I will come to the table with something that maybe I don't want, just to show that I'm fair-minded and reasonable. There are some things I don't want to get rid of. I don't tell her those things because she'll use it against me. But there are some things I look at and I'm like, I like that thing. It goes against my rule. I haven't used that thing in 10 years. I haven't shown it to anybody. I haven't done anything with it. It's useless. I just kind of like it.
Dictionary?
So I look at it and I think I'd like to have that. But as a good faith gesture, when we walk out to the garage, I'll say, listen, I really think we need to get rid of that chair. Oh, that chair, blah, 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 blah. And I'll go, well, listen, you see that briefcase? That was my stepfather's law briefcase. He carried that to and fro his office for 40 years. I have not, however, used that briefcase in 20, and it has sat there collecting dust, and there's no real nostalgia. He didn't use it to, like, save a life, and we should hold on to that briefcase forever. It's just a briefcase, a dated, antiquated, and worn to hell briefcase. I'll get rid of it. I'll get rid of it.
Doesn't sound like you're very attached to the briefcase.
But I kind of like the briefcase. Like, it was given to me. It was handed down. When I first went away to college, he's like, take this with you. So, I remember that moment at the airport. I was going to East Tennessee State. I was like, oh, I got this briefcase. How nice is that? It's useless. It's a useless briefcase now. So but I'm nostalgic about it. So anyhow, there I am. I'm like, okay, well, I'll get rid of the briefcase. You get rid of the chair. You see? This is good faith. But she hasn't budged, so I've got to line up all the things that I think are useless, and there are a lot of them. And then have your junk guy come, the guy you've told me about.
Yep.
And I'm going to do it while she's at work.
Yep.
And he's going to pull up clandestine-like.
It's a covert
I'm going to
operation.
sneak out with all this stuff and say, flee, sir, flee. You never saw me. And that's it. He's gone, right? He takes all the stuff, and then I'm not going to say a word about it.
Or you could call Christy and say, we've been robbed.
Of all the junk in the garage.
Unbelievable.
They targeted the things I wanted to get rid of. It's crazy. I'll have to change the locks. So, no, the only thing I'll tell you is that I'm going to do it, and then I'm willing to get forgiveness rather than permission. So what's going to happen is I'm not going to say anything, and then at some point she's going to go out to the garage to get something. She's like, what the hell happened to the chair? What do you mean? And then
What did you say, babe? I'm on my way to Capital City.
I'm golfing. I got to tell you. We'll talk about it when I get home. It's a chair. I'm not getting a divorce. But some of those things need to go. They just need to go. We all know what we all have these things. I've got a shirt that I can barely wear because the fabric is like escaping. It's, oh, I can't hold on anymore, but it's so comfortable. And so the particle of Christy sees you, why do you have that shirt? You can't even wear that shirt outside. Why do you have it? I'm like, I really like that.
Was
shirt.
it from the Glenn Miller concert you went to?
All right. We're not, circle of trust is over. We're good. That's why I haven't called your guy yet. I'm getting stuff lined up, and then some random Wednesday in May. The time is now. The Falcon has landed. He's going to come racing around the corner, and the garage is already going to be open. And I'm going to be giving him the merry-go-round third base sign. Let's go.
The ghost of Arlie Ermy is there. Move.
Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Car accident? Call Facing Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Small businesses and everyday Floridians depend on a thriving digital economy. But some Florida politicians are pushing an anti-free market law that will crush our economy and hurt consumers. If passed, their reckless new law would prevent small businesses from reaching local customers online. And it could force Floridians to pay for online tools that are free today. SB 262 and HB 1547 are examples of big government at its worst. Don't let the politicians break the internet for Florida and destroy jobs. Let's protect our small businesses and consumers. Let's keep our digital economy strong, and let's keep the Sunshine State open for business. Contact your state senator and state representative today at flsenate.gov and myfloridahouse.gov. That's flsenate.gov and myfloridahouse.gov. Tell your lawmakers to reject SB 262 and HB 1547. Paid for by the Council for Citizens Against Government Waste.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
A good place to be. Like, if the JCS could ever get that big, that'd be a good thing. Meaning, I have the kind of money to produce documentaries that I want to see. That's what Bill Simmons does. He just produces things he wants to see, and I got to give him credit. He's got good taste in music, so he's producing this Jason Isbell documentary on HBO. 2 years in the making, though. Like, they went back and I don't want to ruin it, but it'll be on tomorrow on HBO if that's your cup of tea. I'm looking forward to it.
Interesting. 2 years. Post-pandemic, like, it would make sense if it was 2021 and you said that. Well, yeah, pandemic got me.
I think what I had read was that it had been in the hands of a bunch of different people and they couldn't quite complete the vision, what they were going for. And then Simmons got involved late when he heard of the project and was like, okay, well, I got the money and we need to do this right. Let's edit this and do this and do this. And it was cool. The interview revealed some cool things from him today.
Just a ballpark guess out of you. How many documentaries have you watched?
That's my favorite form of the medium. So
thousands?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. If you could produce a documentary on any topic,
oh my goodness,
you could think of, and you have unlimited resources to make it happen, to be the Ken Burns.
Oh, I don't know because a lot of them have been made. I love history, and a lot of the subject matter that I care about in history has been done. I mean, documentaries have had a renaissance. I mean, they've been like people look at things like Netflix. I'm not saying Netflix specifically, but things like Netflix. They now pay directors to do, like, they have a core group of about 7 guys that make these things that they like. And they're churning them out one after the other. Because you know me with my serial killer love, I would have done the Night Stalker. Well, they just did. The Zodiac Killer, I would have done that. That's an intriguing case. They never caught him. But that's been done. Not only has it been done, they made a damn feature film out of it. And then there's music docs that I would have done. I would have wanted to do a long one on the Beatles. Well, guess what? Somebody beat me to it. It's 8 hours long, and it's the greatest documentary ever made, not called The Last Waltz. So what are you going to do? I mean, I would have been screwed. I don't know. You got to give me some time on that one. I think I could think of something really, really good. I've had ideas before that I've jotted down, and then I don't know. You just put me on the spot here. I can't think of one right now.
Well, maybe there was always something in the back of your mind that, they never did this right. I've never been satisfied by a documentary on X topic.
Yeah, well, so Lewis and Clark is a big one.
Oh, there you go.
So I would do an extensive 8-part Lewis and Clark documentary. It'd be hard to do a documentary, but you know what? Yeah.
4 parts.
Yeah,
maybe 4.
I would do it. It would be a really long documentary about Lewis and Clark because that still amazes me. And I have a bunch of material on that, including the original journals and all that. I mean, that's like, I don't have the original journal, the copies of the original journals, but I do have. Yeah, no.
How you been spending your gambling winnings?
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's high on my list because it's such a fascinating story. It's also absurd, like, just to imagine some of the things encountered in those moments.
What if you
That's
did
the first time you saw a effing grizzly bear?
How about if you did a documentary on your first trip to Augusta? Dave Doherty got me in the chat. He got me thinking about it. He said the Masters. What about your trip? You could do a 6-part documentary on your trip with Trey to the Masters, and you could document it minute by minute.
That's funny, but it would be really boring because most of the documentary would feature me driving to Augusta with a smile on my face. The bulk of what I did before arriving at Augusta was this. Listening to music, driving down the road, whistling. I'm going to the Masters. Calling people to tell them I was on my way to the Masters, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That's about the extent.
I could be a guest on the documentary for that one. Tom, you wouldn't believe what I did today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and then Jack took his driver out and hit one 350 down the middle.
that he didn't do.
It was like it was 1992.
But I had a good conversation with him, which was cool. Documentary of Jeff asking the dead guy's family for the Masters passes. That's a funny 30-minute sitcom, and it happened. It's a real thing. I didn't ask for the passes. I was asking my dad to wear a green jacket to the viewing to remind the family of those passes that have been left behind in the desk of the dead man that had promised them to me. He had to go up and die on us. Found out he was a closet raging alcoholic, and we had no idea. Dude keeled over out of nowhere and cost me an opportunity to go to the Masters. And my dad, to my dad's credit, because he's not as, maybe not as cynical as me or as blunt as me, perhaps. When he called to tell me the dude died, I waited like one beat. It was just one beat. It was sort of just like one beat. And then I was like, Dad, do you think he started chuckling? He's like, I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. Well, hey, man, you heard him. He told me he was giving me the badges. They're just going to go unused. He wouldn't want that. I did the thing that I hate that people do. I went ahead and translated what I think the dead person would have wanted. Everybody does that. Oh, he would have wanted me to do this. You don't know that.
I don't know why I can't shake it off, but just the way you said closet raging alcoholic.
He was. Apparently, he was downing bottles, liters every day at work, and people didn't know.
The sickness is nothing to laugh at, but it's just the way you said it. I don't know.
Well, he was. You know how good he had to have been at hiding the fact that he was that kind of an alcoholic that nobody noticed, and he's down in a fifth of Jack every day, and people are like, what? Nobody had any idea.
This reminds me of the NFL Sunday story that you have with
yeah, that's one of my favorite. Yeah, he's dead too. Imagine that. But yeah, he did. I knew he was on the fast track to death. Poor. I'm like, we get our NFL Sunday started, do we? Woo! Kickoff's an hour away.
They haven't even made their picks yet.
His name was Artie. That was my favorite part. Is his name was Artie, and he fit perfectly within that framework. Artie walked into the kitchen and just. I'm like, good Christ. That's a massive. It wasn't a solo cup. I mean, it's a massive thermos.
Yeah, it's like
my man's getting after it.
32 ounces.
Yeah, I'm like, it's 10:45 a.m. Got the big games coming up today.
What was
it's week 4 of the NFL.
What was the handle of?
I think it was Jack. I think. Yeah,
God.
and I just remember going, holy moly. And then the best part about it was when he finished pouring all of the Jack in, he just went, just a little splash, a little splash of Coke.
Just for it to sizzle.
So he could justify it. Just a little. Let's top it off there so we don't go straight Jack. I can say out loud, it's mixed. What?
So Mr. Grounds passes and Artie would have gotten along, is what you're saying.
Those two would have been like, you're my kind of friend, partner. And yes, they would have gotten along swimmingly. My man was apparently going to work on a Monday. Not coffee in that there thermos.
Oh, man.
I know. That's rough.
Reminds me of somebody we worked with in the past who would send, if an email came in before 8 a.m., but that 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. window didn't make sense. So anything after 8 a.m. was
It was
okay.
the night before. It was the pre-shower.
I guess
pre-shower,
so.
Pre-coffee.
You know, they'd be like, hey, Tom, I've been thinking about, and that's what it would read like. It would just be garbled nonsense. What do you think? I think I'll ask you about it at the 10 a.m. meeting.
About 10:30 a.m. I'll send a response here, and maybe you'll be aware of the fact that nothing you just wrote It's incoherent. What are we doing here? Those are letters out of order.
There's too many consonants there, man. I need a vowel.
All right. I got to get this thing back on track, so I'll do it next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
One person has died after a shooting in Taylor County Wednesday night. Investigators were working the scene around 6:30 p.m. at the convenience store near U.S. Highway 221 North and Pisgah Road at the Gas and Grill located at that intersection. Details are limited on what transpired, but law enforcement was not involved in the shooting. This is an active investigation. A judge has ordered a pharmacist arrested with dozens of guns and hundreds of rounds of ammunition to remain behind bars until his trial. William Head, 36, was arrested last month and charged with 11 felonies. He's accused of violating a domestic violence injunction, and he's facing drug, gun, and explosive charges. Based on the total number of weapons, amount of ammunition, and explosive materials, the totality of circumstances suggests the defendant was preparing for a mass casualty event. Circuit Judge Stephen Everett wrote in his March 30th order. The judge also ordered Head to undergo a competency evaluation. No future court dates have been scheduled yet. This is Rachel Linney with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with highs around 87. Winds out of the south 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies again tonight, lows around 67. 88 tomorrow, slight chance for scattered storms. Chance for scattered storms Saturday, chance for scattered rain showers on Sunday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance for 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at ffbic.com.
This is Rusty Hunt with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Please call me today at 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing's just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
The grounds at -6 through 12. Okay, Victor. By the way, Victor was not in good form heading into the Masters. Not even a little bit. He had stayed steady north of 70 for the vast majority of his rounds recently, and I thought, oh, well, I'm not picking Victor Hovland. Son of a. He's laying in the weeds.
He backdoored a first page at the Players, but yeah, those don't match up. Those results typically don't match up with Augusta all that well.
I think his last 12 rounds were, he shot in the 70s. He really struggled, but my man is at -6. Patrick Cantlay, who's never contended here, is now 4 under and in second. Okay. No, that just changed. Sorry about that.
I was going to say, I didn't see him there.
That was an on-the-fly mistake on ESPN's leaderboard. How about that? I caught it in real time. He was second, then he was removed completely. And I think that's because he's -1, not 4. They misposted. We'll see. Anyhow, those of note, and there are a lot of them.
And Victor's about to at least birdie the 13th. He's on into.
Wow.
Eagle putt from about
well,
20
and that's
feet.
been the site of a lot of controversy about 13 and what that's going to look like, but who would go for it and who wouldn't. John Rahm is 3 under through 11.
After 4 putting the first hole.
Little 4 putt will hurt your feelings to start your Masters experience, but apparently not enough to have an effect on the next holes in which he's looked really good.
Yeah, he eagled number 8, which it's reachable, but you don't see a ton of eagles on number 8. But he got there.
Cam Young has played well coming into the tournament, is playing well right now at 3 under. Other notables, raging piece of garbage that is Patrick Reed is at 2 under.
Yeah, Liv's off to a good start.
Well, let's see. Patrick Reed is. Who else?
Brooks was at 2, and so was Cam Smith. But that was as of maybe 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Cam, I think, has fallen a little bit. Let's see. We'll have to see. He's at -1. But anyhow, long story short, we'll see. A lot of golf to be played, and apparently some weather on its way. Really tragic to see Bryson DeChambeau's having a rough go of it today. You know, you just hate to see it. Next to that other, I'm not going to say.
Very fine gentleman.
You got nervous. It was going to be an over-the-top descriptor of Bubba Watson, but I'll leave it alone. He too is struggling. Oh, well. Well, you know, my kid, he just loves the Aces. It's like me growing up rooting for the Steelers. Is it, Bubba? It's the same. Households all across the country. I love the Aces.
Also, since I'm going to put this out there, it'll never come true. But if Gary Woodland somehow, some way is on the broadcast over the weekend, let's hope he makes the cut for a hole-in-one, just smile for me. Just smile. I decided that I'm going to play a prop of one player for anytime hole-in-one in a tournament.
And you took
for
Woodland?
every major. Yeah, because the odds were astronomical.
There's a bet you can make that Jason Day finish. I think this is a good one. That Jason Day finishes in the top 20 and that there will be a hole-in-one in the tournament. You couple those two.
What were the numbers?
So they're good. It's like 400. It's I can't remember. I saw it earlier in the week. I go back and look at it for you, but it was high.
Okay.
That Jason Day finishes in the top 20 and that there will be a hole-in-one at some point in the tournament. 450 to 1 or something like that. You could yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. They're getting better with gambling in golf. It's not just now like low rounds and total numbers and, you know, all that stuff. They're doing a lot of prop bets that are fun. You take 3 guys to finish in the top 40. You know, and that's pretty cool.
We just need to get with the getting in this state. But yesterday,
yes, we do.
On ESPN's coverage, before I left the house, there was the par 3 on one of the TVs downstairs. Then there was the Sports Center coverage, the extended discussion points. And that's fun because they go to the range and they talk about each golfer. Andy North watches. They cut to Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth on 12 practice round. Jordan puts it on the back fringe. And Jordan's about to chip for birdie. And Andy North says, I got 3 to 1 here that he makes it.
We've come a long way.
On the desk.
On the desk.
And the host goes, really? 3 to 1? He goes, yeah, I think 3 to 1's a good number.
He's going under the radar. But you and I monitor, for the purposes of this show and the family of Cameron Show listeners, those that are on their way out in the broadcast world because there's evidence of shakiness. Andy North is on my list, buddy.
Uh-oh.
I'm locked in, just like I do with weaves and any sort of perm or wig or anything like that. I'm always like, I see you over there. But Andy's kind of stutter-effed his way through a couple of appearances recently where I've thought, I think Andy may be in trouble.
Is Vern still on the call on 16? I'm legitimately asking. Is he still on the call? I wonder.
You'll hear it. I mean, you will hear him. Vern, just pull the mic away. Good God. I know you're fat. It's hard. But you just don't have to breathe all up in there, man. Let's go. Everybody can hear that. But you watch. I just want to put it on everybody's radar, okay?
Hovland. For par. What a shame.
And he's great. And he has been great in his career.
One of the nicest guys.
Yeah, everybody says that. I have nothing. This is not veiled shots at a bad guy that, no. It's just he can't breathe.
When he wept for his final Army-Navy game, it was hard to keep it together. He just looked straight into the camera and was so sad that it was his last game. I remember that.
He knew the Reaper was right around the corner.
Well, apparently not. That's 7 years ago. He's still hanging on.
He sensed he was there. Every now and then he sees him in the rear view.
That was 2016. That was Army getting off the schneid. I was glad that Vern could see it through.
Yeah. Vern's great, but it blows me away when you hear that. How a producer isn't like, Vern,
just cut his mic for him.
Well, we've been over this. We have pre-shot, pre-show meetings. You know when we're coming to you, which groupings. I tell you well in advance. It's in your ear.
Yeah. They also give him the squeakiest chair on the property. You can hear that, too, in the background.
He's a big one.
Come on, no, I wasn't teeing you up for that. That's just legit. These are very preventable things. It's like, remember when on the old ESPN radio days, Bob Valvano had the show on the weekends?
Yes, he did.
That dude's chair was the squeakiest thing in the world.
Quietly, a very underrated show. Bob was good, like dry, but new stuff. Lots of things. Bob was versatile. People never got a chance to hear him, but he was good. He was kind of like a dry wit, the whole deal.
You know what the truth is about college basketball?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is.
But he would throw down. It was never some just sort of cursory BS. I'm going to make it sound like I'm giving a real opinion, although it's nothing controversial at all. He'd come back with something like, I'll tell you the truth about college basketball. My brother wasn't a good coach. Like, Jesus, Bob, he's dead. I mean, let the man, it doesn't, why would you do it?
Total fluke.
Yeah. We all know what happened there. Incredible luck, good matchups. Anything can happen in a truncated tournament.
It's like when he beat me at Horseshoes in 73.
Look at the whole of his career. Tell me what his record is now, outside of that one great run. Okay. And he got busted by the NCAA, so there's that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that part's true. Yeah. But, I mean, it's every college basketball coach has cheated, it seems to me. That's one of those ones, like the steroid argument for people who are like pro Bonds and everybody. Like, well, I mean, the whole league. Fair enough. That's a good point. It's a good counter. You might be right. Canseco may not have been exaggerating for once in his life. When he said 70%, that might have been a low estimate. When we look back at it now, you're kind of like, sure that's not 90%, Jose? Because the more that we know, the more you're kind of like, I guess I got to go with that one. Like, yeah, maybe everybody in that era is in.
Why does everybody's forearms look like thighs?
It is funny. When you go back and watch highlights of that run, the home run chase, it's not just McGuire and Sosa that come up while you're watching. Just take a look around the infield when they come up. You're like, oh my God, every one of these guys are like competing for Mr. Olympia.
They're playing out in San Diego, and there's Cam and Eddie. Oh my God.
Who's dead?
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah. He was never going to make it.
Remember Galarraga?
You think he was on it?
Dude.
He was a big dude, but he was a naturally big guy, though. He was a big dude.
You going to give him the Jim Thome pass?
I may. I think he's just a burly guy.
Jim Thom?
Jim was just a country dude, just a big
country
dude.
Strong.
Sure. He was. Yeah. I don't know if he was on
He and Manny were on the same page with the baggy uniforms, though.
But Jim had those massive forearms that looked normal. Like Manny, when you caught him without his baggy shirt on, you're like, that doesn't look right. You look ridiculous. You look like you have 2% body fat. What are we doing here?
We all know you ain't working out like crazy.
You're
Manny.
He was, yeah. So
the best example was Giambi, though.
Oh, well, yeah, when he lost 45 pounds. How much weight have you lost? 12 pounds. Get the hell out of here. You look like you're on the verge of death.
You've lost one full Justin Thomas.
Yeah, that was. I stood next to him when the Yankees played the Pirates in Bradenton spring training, and he came walking by the gate where I was standing, and I was like, look, my man has lost an entire human being. And it was on the day that the reporters came cascading down upon him. You could tell he was caught off guard.
Yeah.
And they were, what? Did you change your diet? It was one of the questions. Like, yeah.
Yeah, stop eating.
I'm not putting a needle in my ass anymore, if that's what you mean by diet. Yeah. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with us. Jeff Kemper, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Peru at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. Con amor y pasión, with love and passion, Café de Martín is a fine Peruvian dining experience in an approachable, comfortable, cultural-rich space built for creating memories to last a lifetime. Enjoy happy hour daily with a full bar, handcrafted cocktails, beers on draft and bottle, paired with a selection of Peruvian tapas like crispy fried yuca with house-made huancaína sauce, carefully selected charcuterie boards, a selection of fresh ceviches, and so much more. It's Café de Martín and El Bar. Escape to Peru, a country of great culture, beauty, and food right here in the capital city. Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Services to call away. 222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Conferences to call away. Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. The best way to start betting smarter is to sign up for a free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. That's vsin.com/subscribe.
NBA basketball tonight, both the Magic and Heat are in action. The Magic playing a second straight game against the Cavaliers. Cavaliers won the first game 117-113, but the Magic are favored in tonight's game by 8 points. Also tonight, the Heat played the 76ers in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, 4-point favorite. Elsewhere in the NBA, San Antonio, a 2-point favorite at home against Portland. Oklahoma City, a 5.5-point favorite in Salt Lake City against the Jazz. And Phoenix at home, a 6.5-point favorite against the Nuggets.
For the latest odds all the time, visit vsin.com. I'm Matt Pauley. This has been your action update on Tallahassee's Real Talk station, Real Talk 93.3.
At Pinch A Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiestakeout.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. With Foodies Takeout and Delivery, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiestakeout.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Real Talk fact number 44. Banging your head against the wall for 1 hour burns 150 calories. This is Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's Real Talk station.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Vaccine preventable diseases still exist in the United States and all around the world. You have the power to protect yourself, your family, and your community. To learn more, visit vaccinateyourfamily.org.
Every child deserves a chance to live their best life and celebrate every moment. When you support St. Jude, you help give kids with cancer around the world that chance. Together, we can save more lives. Finding cures, saving children. Visit stjude.org.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Or your computer or your phone or however it is that you're listening to the JCS. Appreciate you doing so, by the way. Very much so. Scott Stallings, your leader in the clubhouse.
That is true.
That is true. At 2 under. We've got 7 under for Victor Hovland, who's finding his way around Augusta National with the greatest of ease. That's through 13. Man. Shane Lowry is off to a great start today at 3 under through 16. If Shane Lowry, I will say this now, is anywhere near the lead and inclement weather is going to be the way of the day over the next 3, Shane is a real contender to win the whole thing. He loves it. Rainy, cold, windy, bring it on. Let's go. And for that reason, I was very tempted in our pool to take him because he'll play that way here and at the British. So you'd have him at least, Tom, for 2 of the 4 majors that you'd feel pretty good about because they always have usually inclement weather in the British Open.
He won it in Northern Ireland. That was his previous major, and that was a who's who in the leaderboard that he fought off.
Yeah.
I watched that guy on the 18th hole Saturday at Whistling Straits drive it into the bunker on 18, which you can't do. I mean, it's just you're dead. It's a bogey. Everybody else is playing the whole standard. They got bids at birdies, and he has to pitch out, sticks it to 20 feet. I mean, not the greatest approach shot.
And makes the putt.
Makes the putt to have the hole. I mean, just
he's got a pair.
As
he's solid.
Tough as it gets.
Yeah, he's good. Xander Schauffele playing well, -3 through 13. John Rahm, -3 through 12. Brooks Koepka is at 3 under as well through 7. And how about the amateur Sam Bennett from Texas A&M at -3 through 2? Wow. Okay. Get off to a start, my man.
It's all downhill from here, Sam.
You see the story on Sam Bennett?
Oh, he's a player. I'm just
No,
saying.
did you see the story on him, though?
No.
They did a good one. It clarified something for me. I've seen Sam Bennett, because he's a great amateur and a really good college golfer. And 2 times that I watched Sam Bennett play, I was just watching TV and he came on. I was like, what is going on with his forearm? I'm glad I didn't say anything crazy. So it looks like a child's writing on his forearm. I mean this. You guys will see this and you'll wonder, especially if he continues to play well. You'll see like script on his arm. It looked like, at the first time I saw it looked like he was writing himself notes, but you're allowed to carry a pad. I was like, well, just put it on the pad. You don't need it. But yeah, so it's kind of, misshapen as kids write. Turns out it was the last bit of advice that his dad ever gave him when he had Alzheimer's, and he wrote it out and had a hard time writing the letters. And so after he passed away, while Sam was still in college, Sam had that note tattooed on his forearm with the date. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm glad I watched that story this morning at 6 a.m. alone.
Thanks, Rinaldi.
It was, dude, it's tough. It's tough. But for anybody, I thought about this today. This is my good deed. If you were just sitting there watching, you'd be like, what the hell is on his forearm? That looks ridiculous. Well, now you won't do that. Now you will not do that. Now you'll see it and you get a little choked up because it's beautiful. That piece, if you get a chance to watch it, is also nice. So there's Sam Bennett tidbit.
So he chipped in on 2. They're showing it on delay, but that's how he eagled to be beyond at 3 under through 2 holes. Little pitch in.
You know what doesn't surprise me is take a look at this leaderboard, and we'll move on to football here in a second. We're going to go watch the team practice today at Doak Campbell Stadium, which I think will be a lot like, in my mind, it's going to be a lot like a game, a scrimmage type thing. So I'm looking forward to it. But one thing does seem to be true about Augusta. It's a veritable who's who a lot of times in this first round where you're just looking around going, now there's always an outlier because that's true of any tournament where you look up, you're like, who the hell is Willie Jones out here throwing up a 7 under? He won't be there on Sunday. But for the most part, I'm just going to give you names that sit in the top 15. And you're going to go, yep, makes sense. Yep. Here you go. Justin Rose, Jason Day, Zach Johnson, Gary Woodland, Cam Smith, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Freddie Couples, Scotty Scheffler, Hideki Matsuyama, Adam Scott, Cam Young, not Scott Stone, John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Shane Lowry, Brooks Koepka, Victor Hovland. I skipped over some huge guys, but a lot of those guys are top 50 guys in the world, so it's not,
Give me that leaderboard on Sunday and don't let Victor run away with it. Let's keep that within touch here.
Well, Brooks is 3 shots back of Victor, so here you go.
That is correct.
Be interesting to see what happens with this weather because that is going to affect this tournament greatly.
If Brooks is on his game too, he takes advantage of 13 and 15 routinely. So to get through the tougher of the 9s at 4 under, it's interesting. It's getting interesting.
Yeah. So here we are. We will watch. We will update. As for what we want to see today, go ahead.
Did you read the piece in the Washington Post about Harold Varner III, HV3?
I couldn't believe what he said. Now, do you know that those contracts are written in such a way that if you say something disparaging about the Live Tour, its players, or well, first of all, it's very, very risky.
It's like stealing a loaf of bread over there.
Very, very risky. But secondly, they can, and this is the part of the contract that when I read this, I thought, you may have a problem on your hands here, Harold. They can boot you from the league and ask you to repay the monies by which you have been given up to this point. And that is in the contract. So if they kick you out because you say something, that's before cause, with cause, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly that is a disparaging remark.
It's not a buyout situation. It's you got to pay it back.
You got to pay it back.
Oh, boy.
So let's just say they gave Dustin Johnson, we know, in the neighborhood of $250 million.
Yeah.
And Dustin were to speak the truth about that situation, like so many of them have, and put their foot in their mouth, where they admit that, they're playing for a murderous regime. And they say that. Obviously, they can be booted from that league. Imagine going to Dustin and saying, you got to give us back $100 million. You think Dustin's been responsible with that money? I mean, you think it's just laying around where he's like, okay, I will.
It's like a divorce without the married part.
Because there are a lot of players, Brooks being one of them, who have intimated they have regrets, that they wish they hadn't done it, that now that they're healthy or circumstances have changed or their eyes have been opened or whatever it might be, they wish they could get out of it. I say they all, several of the players have that have gone to live. But they have to be very careful how they express that. And if that clause was not in those contracts, it'd be the easiest thing in the world. You would just walk in. If they could just boot you out for saying something disparaging, everybody would if they were unhappy. You'd just be like, you know what? I hate it here. This sucks. This is not what I signed up for. I don't like it. Okay, well, you're booting me out. What a shame. Ooh.
In short, Harold Varner said, for those that don't know.
Oh, yeah, you should read it. It's good.
It's all BS. The talking points about growing the game.
Oh, of course.
It's all BS. And
all
it's about the effing money, which I found refreshing. He's like, look,
exactly.
My family comes from nothing. We're dirt poor.
Yes, I wanted to make generational wealth that I wouldn't be able to make on the PGA Tour because I'm not, well, he didn't say this part, because I'm not good enough.
Right. I had sugar and mayonnaise sandwiches when I was through high school because we didn't have enough food.
Right. So
I could set up my kids and my kids' kids, my kids' kids' kids.
By the way, he was the only one when he did go to have the guts to say what it was.
Yeah.
He was the only one. He sat right there, looked it right in the camera, and was like, man, I've been poor my whole life. I'm changing my whole family's life. I'm taking the money. Okay. I don't like the decision, but thank you for being honest. Standing up there with Ian Poulter and others like, oh, well, we're growing the game. You're not growing a damn thing. Get that. Ridiculous. So that's where we're at. That's the leaderboard. Now, what do we want to see? Well, do you think we get a lot of Jordan Travis today or no?
Yes.
I do too.
Yes. I think you get it.
Well, I say a lot.
I think
three series, 3 drives.
I think the representative amount of the ones. I think he gets time with the ones today. This is just it's a guess. I will say, though, in reading the practice observations, and perhaps you'd like to comment on this, one thing I'd like to see are clean snaps from the center position today.
So one of the things, yeah, I agree.
Because they're working a lot of guys out there.
You have to, though. You really do. And it's not like we're giving away trade secrets here about the practices that they'd be mad about. This has been talked about, written up, answered.
Cross-training, it's spring. Spring is for cross-training.
What you do. So they're trying to get somebody besides Maurice ready to play football this season at center. And there's a competition. There's a real competition there. Maurice plays above his weight, punches above his weight. He really does. Because he's not the requisite size of a center. He's technically sound, he's got good feet, and he's tough. And those are all big-time compliments for that young man. But he is not the size and the weight you would want your center to be. And I think that if you have visions of competing for championships, then you'd like to see somebody really push him. Frankly, if they were being honest, I don't know that they would say this. I don't think Alex would. But I think they wish that Roddick would beat him out.
Well, they already have said, and Roddick has gone on record saying that they wanted him to work extensively at center when he first got here. So, I mean, that's whether that's for a depth reason or because they wanted to have a replacement with a larger body type. You could be the judge, but they have said that that's their goal. We already know that Darius has worked there for the last 15 years as he's been on this roster. all over the place. He's a Swiss Army knife. But snapping the ball is an issue unless your name is David Stickle right now, and that's a walk-on. So they've got to get more people. It sounds so easy, but it's not. They got to get more people who can snap the ball efficiently, and that would short-circuit the enjoyment today in the stadium if we don't get that basic thing. If they're going to go game-like, if they're going to do what we think they're going to do, which is an hour and a half of a game-like situation in Doak, you got to be able to snap the damn football, please.
100% agree. I think they would like somebody to beat Maurice out. My opinion, they have not intimated that. I just think that they would. They are, obviously when you got 12 guys competing for 5 spots, you want your best 5 out there, and you cross-train them all in the hopes that you can, maneuver and manipulate if you have to any given weekend. That is a place where attrition is common, and you lose guys over the course of a long season in the trenches, and you need to have not only an ample supply of those kinds of players, but you also need guys that can be versatile. And I think you'll see a lot of guys we already have working in at guard and tackle. And I think that's probably true of about 3 players at least at center. We just named 3. I would think that they may even grab a 4th. So that will be interesting to see. I wonder too, we're moving rather rapidly towards the end of spring. And what comes with that is a thought that, okay, now we reevaluate. Spring ended. What do we think? Well, we feel really good. Okay. We feel really good about this, and this. True. What don't we feel really good about? Because we can address it in the portal. And I think pretty soon this is how the conversation's going to shift. You're going to say, okay, we're loaded here. We're all set there. If you could go get this, would you go do it? Could you go do it? Will we see them do it? And I think we'll be saying yes about linebacker, probably. I wonder if we're going to say it about corner, receiver. That's defensive end.
Safety.
You think you see it at safety?
Well, Adam Fuller's been aggressive in his language about the safeties. So I wouldn't be stunned if it's just watch the offers. Watch where the offers go when this is all said and done.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to also look for the outflow. You got to be prepared for guys in the camp of hurt feelings, as you've called it, to have their feelings hurt and to move on. And that might create a new need that we do not anticipate at a certain position. So you got to, as much as they have maybe too many guys already on the roster and they need to have a purge, if you lost 2 players at a position like offensive line, then you might have to go dip back in and go get another offensive lineman just for depth purposes. I don't know that specific example is going to come to be, but that's the thing. You've got to be nimble there. To me, defensive end is not a bad candidate. I know you talked about it on Monday in the interview with Ira. I think Kentron actually has a chance to be the number 2 receiver. I've been impressed with him consistently. It looks like his body control is at a really high level. He doesn't look overwhelmed or out of place. So he's not getting screamed at for running the wrong route or having poor depth or technique or consistency. I think Kentron's got a chance to be the number 2 until Micah Pittman comes back and is healthy. So I don't know that we need to dip into the portal for a receiver per se, especially with Dre Jacobs on the way too. If you have Johnny and Kentron, Darion Williamson will be thrown into the mix consistently. A guy like Winston Wright over the middle. Ja'Kai Douglas is another gadget type receiver, but very valuable. I think you've got enough there. I don't know that you need to go get another one.
If you had a difference maker, a guaranteed game changer that was out there, that was high profile, could really play.
Like a return punts too.
Well, that's the big part of this, actually, with Micah being down, and they've had a host of people back there. And I'll be honest with you, none of it feels real good, does it? I mean, you don't like anything back there so far that we've seen on punt returns. So they may have to go get a versatile receiver who's exceptionally good at returning punts. They may have to. I would think defensive end maybe is a candidate as well. You already brought one in, but you lost one. It was just a swap.
You'd never have too many of those two.
You got 4. You love 2. You like a 3rd. You could probably use another one.
I just thought it curious that they said from the outset at spring that Dennis Briggs would be a defensive tackle. I would have thought, given that even with McClendon on the roster at the time, he might be better suited to be a full-time end that could be an edge setter for you. I don't know. Just that was a curious decision to me. Obviously, they see him a hell of a lot more and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But now it rears its head a little bit more. Do you move Dennis back to fortify the depth there?
I think Briggs will be inside. I do. There'll be formations where they can
loaded.
use him. Yeah.
You know, they're so loaded there.
I know. He's an interesting player because I think he actually has a chance to have a big year because I don't think he was healthy last year at all. So I'm really hoping that we see that out of him because he was projecting very nicely at the time of his injury.
And I know that Adam Fuller's talked about multiple defensive tackle fronts, and so maybe that's an opportunity for him. But if you just look at the depth chart, and let's say that 2 are going to be out there most of the time, are you going to play Briggs over Darrell Jackson, Fabian Lovett, Josh Farmer? I mean,
down in distance, but you can rotate in all those guys, and
I get that we like the rotation there, but it just, Braden Fisk. I mean, at some point, when are you going to get the most out of this guy? Or where could you get the most out of this guy? If we have a need for a physical edge setter at end, that might be the place in the home for him.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea. I'm for that reason, I'm really excited for spring to end. I don't know that we're going to learn anything more than we've already learned, up to this point. Unless somebody really emerges today and then we get back next week and they continue the trend of whatever happens out here this afternoon at Doak. If you get good safety play today from Shaheem Brown and then Tuesday we come back and there's a practice and he kicks ass again, you're like, okay, the light bulb's gone off. He was called out by the coach. Now we're seeing, or Akeem Dent, either one. I don't know who he was talking to. I think he was probably talking to both of them.
Yeah, Akeem, from what I saw, dropped a couple of, one specific.
Look, he's just never caught the ball real well.
Yeah.
When he has opportunities, he drops it a lot. They had 2 picks on Tuesday, Tom, that were deflections, and they were really nice interceptions because they were difficult. They were they weren't the kind of deflections that just went straight up and hung in the air forever. They were rocketed off of fingertips and came straight back, and the guys got their hands up and made plays. Jaron Jones made one of those plays, so that was a good sign too. I know they're trying to be intentional about it, but we had the conversation already on the show about how much can you really do.
I think they're okay at corner. I think that's a luxury and not a need unless you lose somebody. But Greedy Vance, I think, has been one of the most consistent defensive backs in spring camp.
He's a better player than I gave him credit for.
Same here. Just, when he was getting his feet underneath him here at Florida State, all he would do is grab you. So I thought that meant he had no speed or whatever. But the back half of last season was impressive, and he's continued that momentum. Renardo is solid wherever you need him to be.
Renardo's he's a good player.
Yeah. And then Fentrell has gotten better as camp has gone on, I think. He's gotten better as camp has gone on. Does that mean that it's a solid issue and he's locked down and he's going to be first team all ACC? I'm not ready to say that yet, but he's gotten better. So if you have those 3 guys, Jerrion has not been bad this camp, and Azarieh's come on a little bit late as well of late. You should have enough, especially with Knowles coming back from injury in the fall.
I just keep doing the thing with the standard that we talked about. It feels a lot like settling in some of those areas. It feels a lot like they're adequate.
Well, but
it doesn't feel a lot like there's a difference maker in that group.
But
now,
I agree. There's nobody that they would put on the graphic when the ball is snapped. All right, first play's over. Who are the key playmakers for both teams? I don't think you're going to list a corner for Florida State.
You're not, and you haven't basically since Jalen left.
But if you only can grab, because of roster limitations, 2 or 3 guys in the portal, is corner the first place you'd go? Like, that's the question. At what point would corner make the list? 2, 3,
I really need
4 spots?
It's the caliber of the player that's in the portal. It's. I mean, are you telling me I've got a crack at a 5-star wide receiver who I know is plug and play and will make a difference? Then I'm going there. If you give me a lockdown projected to go number 1 in the draft or top, first round in the draft corner, I'm going there. So it really is about the caliber of the player. Marcus asked a question. We'll answer it in just a second. He did ask, per the J-Trav conversation the other day, what player have you been the most wrong about, bad to good or good to bad? And who has Tough Love Cameron helped the most across all sports? Tom, you'll have to guess on that one. You got a guy on that you think I've helped the most?
I think I need
we need a second to think about it. Yeah. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Motorcycle accident? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
After the Sabbath, at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb, and there was a violent earthquake. For an angel of the Lord rolled back the stone and said unto the women, Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen. This Easter, may your heart be filled with the faith and wonder of that first Easter morning, now and throughout the year. A message of hope from Wit and Glass on South Monroe, Tallahassee's first family in glass since 1945. For mirrors, shower and bath enclosures, tabletops, and window glass, call 222-5781, online at witandglass.com. And Tony Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning, the highest industry standards, personal attention to every detail. That's Tony Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. Call 850-3774, online at TonyKellyInc.com.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Real Talk fact number 82. There are three kinds of people in the world. Those who can count and those who can't. This is Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Steady bench pressing, but not dominating on the football field. Tough love. Well, to answer Marcus's question, I should say, I was really wrong about Xavier Lee. I thought Xavier Lee, and I said as much, was one of the most talented players I'd ever seen. He had the kind of arm talent that coaches salivate over. Physically, he was very gifted in so many ways, and I thought he was going to be a star. And it turned out, I don't think, that he liked football very much. That's a problem as a football player. And so it showed, and he didn't get better. And he was not the star I projected him to be, which is a shame because I really felt like he had all of the tools. He could make every throw. He was a great athlete, big, strong kid, could move. But, that's my answer. I was wrong about that.
I think Tough Love did some great work, even though it was never a settled issue. Tough Love did some great work with MJ Walker.
I was going to say MJ Walker.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, solid work.
I was on MJ from the get-go. He had the loser's limp.
Yes, you were.
And my man would miss a shot, then, oh, my ankle. He'd go through a tough stretch of 1 for 6, and then, oh, I'm hurt. I'm going to miss the game. Drove me nuts. And then he got a little bit tougher, still usually faked an injury somewhere in the course of a game or
most every game.
Yeah. But then came back quicker, too. Came back quicker than he got a little bit better getting back out there.
Tiger is scratching and clawing, pun intended. He's on the 15th. They just made a bomb for birdie. Too.
Nice.
He's at 2 over. So he's holding. Braveheart hold.
Hold. It's 2 over.
2 over.
9 shots back. Is that what that is?
That is. But
no.
The bleeding has stopped. Maybe. 16. He likes that hole. He's done a couple of things on the 16th at Augusta.
Bunch of guys 4 under. Xander's just moved to 5 under. Okay. So much for me. God, I didn't think Schauffele was going to be playing this well, but he is. Schauffele's at 5 under. John Rahm's at 4 under. Brooks Koepka's at 4 under. Shane Lowry's at 3 under. And they're all chasing Victor Hovland, who is 7 under through 15.
And had a disappointing par on the 15th. His first quote-unquote bogey of the day, if you will.
Aforementioned Sam Bennett, the amateur, still 3 under through 3, but doesn't he have a look at Bird here?
Very good one on number 4. Probably about 6.5, 7 feet.
Good story, man. I like to see it.
There'll be a little slider from his left to his right.
I like to see it. Did your boy Gary Woodland throw in a ace yet?
If he does.
We'll hear about it.
Oh, we will get some fine single malt, you and I.
That sounds good to me.
Take you out. We'll toast to Gary Woodland.
Let's go, Gary. Plus, we like Gary. I like Gary. No, there's a lot to like about Gary. He's a nice guy. Really nice guy.
His U.S. Open at Pebble was cool. Historic.
Yeah.
It was a 2-man field, and he hit the wedge on 17 green. Remember that?
Yeah, it was incredible. And then he decided to take 3 years off of just kind of walking around not playing real good golf. He's like, I did it. I did all I needed to do.
But he won't be the same as a Sean McKeel as a one-time major winner if he does nothing else. He's not that. He's a much better player than a Sean McKeel.
Yeah, he should be winning. Oh, he's got game. He's an elite athlete. There really isn't. I think he let his mental guard down after that major. It'll happen. I do. So, yeah, those are the answers for you, by the way. MJ Walker is who I was telling you about. Always, I think that Tom's right on that. Tough Love Cameron did some work for MJ.
I think the most wrong I've ever been in general might be Vernon Hargraves.
You mean in your life?
No, in sports. Vernon Hargraves to the Bucks in the first round. I was all about that. I thought that was a great pick.
We both kind of screwed that up. I was okay with it. You loved it. We were both wrong. Mario got it right on that one.
And then with respect at Florida State, I think many might remember this one, but Jordan Young, respect my man.
Oh, man, you were sure. Even in the face of overwhelming evidence.
He had it.
Like years went by.
He had it.
Whereas here we were like 3 years into his career. I'm like, Tom, it ain't happening. It could happen. He's going to have them. Yeah.
Hang in there, Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for an NFL Sunday where I hear Scott Hansen say, that's Jordan Young. They signed him off the practice squad this week.
Yeah, he was terrible, and it didn't work out. I can still remember watching Hargraves probably in year 2 coming in with that sinking feeling when you're like, yeah,
It's not getting better.
this ain't gonna work. He's kind of awful. We got a problem here. Dude is still in the league though. He's bounced around
That's
everywhere.
right.
He keeps getting starts.
Wasn't a total draft bust because he's still playing.
He's in the league, and it's been it's been a minute.
Thought he'd be good though.
Yeah, we thought he was going to be legit good.
Nope.
Who's an underrated guy? Now, listen, we've had this discussion all day about players and what we're going to be looking for at today's scrimmage. Is there a guy that we're not talking about? The
quote unquote scrimmage, just in case.
Well, yeah, it may not be at all. It could be a walkthrough, and we'll be like, damn it, man.
Special teams for an hour and a half. Plot twist.
I'm trying to think. Who would I nominate as a player we're not talking about, but I think will have a big impact or have a impact this year? I guess, to some extent, it could be you got a huge room of running backs. It could be one of the guys that we don't mention offhand.
No, it wouldn't stun me if, like, in a key game, CJ Campbell had 70 all-purpose yards and a touchdown out of nowhere.
Yeah, because he's a good player. Yeah, because he's a good player. Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you wouldn't be stunned by that. Yeah. I believe that. I believe one of those running backs might end up being a player. Not one of the ones we're talking about, though.
I circle back to this guy a lot, but Ja'Kai, again, because you can isolate him in a matchup. Florida State has more legitimate receivers now that you could get him on the 4th best defensive back, and he'll make that guy look silly. The only time Greedy Vance has looked bad, at least to the practices I've been to, is when Ja'Kai lines up one-on-one with him, because that guy is just so
It's a matchup problem.
He's a hard dude to cover. And now he doesn't have to be your ace in the hole like he was on the drive against Miami in the 4th and 14. That whole drive is set up by a wheel for Ja'Kai. That's the play that sets up.
And he almost drops it. When you go back and watch that, you're like, my man.
Little bobble ski.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But he caught it.
Parchment makes the catch that we all remember, but it was the whole thing that got the stadium going was Ja'Kai. And if he's, again, isolated, especially with these tight ends that are now part of the target package, if you will, if he's going against the 5th best defender, he could be somebody who racks up a lot of easy, cheap yardage.
Do you think, would this qualify? Because we've all been talking about him since the first day we saw practice and he was making plays. But do you think Ventravius Jacobs is the answer? Or is he now too much of a known commodity?
He might be too much of a known commodity.
Yeah.
At least in the media
Think
circles.
about think about what that means. Like how far he's come already. It's a spring. It's his first ever spring. He's never played in a college football game. And we're like, foregone conclusion. He's good. That's kind of ridiculous.
The question is, do you trust him? 4th and gotta have it. And he's the one who breaks and he's open. The ball's coming his way. Do you trust him?
He doesn't have the drops. My man makes catches every day in practice. Like, I call it out when I see it. I talked about Johnny Wilson dropping passes over and over again before he ever played. I was like, he has a problem catching the football. We saw it at practice. It would piss me off. I'd watch it, be like, man, this is going to be an issue. We all got into arguments about that. Now, the good news was that that's true, but he overcomes it because he makes really difficult catches, and he is a matchup nightmare, and there are problems for defenses when he's out there. So, he overcomes it. I would like to see him catch the routine pass because then he could be a high draft pick, and we would be even better. So maybe this year he does that because he does everything else really well. He blocks exceptionally well. He's a committed teammate and a hard worker. He doesn't miss practice. He's all these things that I like, but he drops routine passes. But so far, I've not seen All Day Dre dropping anything. He catches pretty much everything. Keziah Holmes is the answer at running back for the surprise, maybe, if you want to say he's a surprise, because he's a redshirt junior, but he's a transfer.
A lot of coverage about him early in camp and a lot of questions about him consistently. So he's not flying under the radar of the fan base. I think we just do such a good job at warchant.com of covering all players that, we know all of their stories. I was trying to think of, maybe the backup safeties with Omarion and Travis J. And it's like, no, we've covered that too. Could it be Blake Nicholson or, as a
because he's not here yet. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that room is shoddy. So if he comes in
but we know about the 9 defensive tackles we have, and they're all good. I guess if maybe Gilbert Edmond turned into an impact player, that would be a surprise, wouldn't it?
Don't you think he's kind of they're kind of counting on him to be?
Some level, yeah.
I mean, he's got to
Yeah.
be one of the 4.
He's got to be somebody who gives you a breath at least, and you don't have a huge drop off. I'm not saying I'm moving the goalpost for him just yet. Again, we've seen it with some of the transfers here. We just got done talking about Greedy Vance. You got to get acclimated before you can start to take off. But, he hasn't been lights out or anything like that so far.
Yeah. I just think they felt comfortable moving on from a guy if he wanted to move on, and that's because they think they got the same player, but maybe slightly better. It's kind of funny to me. If McClendon goes to South Carolina, which is rumored, if that's where he ends up, you're like, really? So we took the better player from you, and you got our backup. We just swapped players. We got Gilbert Edmond, and you take him. That's
They call that the Spider-Man trade.
You know what we should do here, since we're doing a little bit of it right now? I would call this allocation analysis, like our friends at ISF.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we are solving for the future.
We are solving for the future, like my partners, collaborators, and dear friends at ISF. And let's do exactly that, my man. Put it up on the big board. What are you celebrating? What happened? Who
I'm
made
celebrating ISF. That was not called.
Oh,
Legit.
I thought you were saying somebody made a putt.
Adam Scott's at 5 under. Where the hell did that come from?
He likes the course, plays well there. He's another one of those guys that's probably always going to play well there. Also, it's still the most beautiful swing in golf. It's a dude who should have won more. He's won the Masters, for Christ's sake, so he's going to play well there. ISF doesn't care about Adam Scott. Well, I shouldn't do that. They may care deeply about Adam Scott, but I'm not aware of that, and that's not what we're talking about. We're looking at feasibility studies and allocation analysis, and I think it's important that, like ISF, as they analyze work streams for the Division of Communicable Diseases, that was quick and easy the way I said it. That was so well done. Lots of credit to me on that.
Comunicable.
So, you're trying to assist the department in allocation of federal grant funds and increase its capacity of disease intervention. That's what ISF does. They're here for you to do that. But we're here to do that for Florida State football. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at that roster and talk about where we need to allocate some damn funds. It's us and Battles In. Looking at allocating some funds.
Looking at the P&L reports here, buddy. And the profit would be plays. And the L's, well, they're always losses, aren't
That's
they?
correct. Losses.
We want to have as many P's as we can possibly have to avoid the L's.
So I still think I would allocate something for a linebacker. I'd allocate a little something for a star difference maker at wide receiver.
I like defensive end as the number one place. Just, again, I want to have a second wave. I'm greedy here. And I think the place that you can afford to get greedy is in the trenches. And if you can have something close to a rotation at D end like you do at the interior, that just makes you so much stronger and impervious to week drop-offs. So I would go defensive end as my primary place.
Over linebacker?
Makes everybody better. Yep.
Okay.
If you could reduce the amount of snaps that Jared Verse has to be out there by 15 to 20 a game, and you don't have a drop-off, a huge drop-off, that is a weapon and a half.
Briley, the reason that safety is not the number one problem is I really do believe that Shaheem Brown's going to have a good year. I think he's going to have a good season.
They've been okay there. It hasn't been a disaster.
They don't have a superstar there that you're all talking about and that we're all thinking can change games.
It could be Shaheem. It could be.
He's a candidate. I'm not saying I would, ignore an elite safety in the portal, but I feel like, we don't have depth nor elite talent at linebacker. So we got some guys that just what they are.
I wouldn't disagree. I think you'd have to have an above and beyond player at linebacker for me to move that up to number one.
Oh, well, yes.
If it's just a guy, then I'd rather get just the guy at defensive end.
I agree with you. I'm not telling you that I just want another run-of-the-mill average linebacker. We got plenty.
You don't need that at receiver.
No.
You could use a center. Hey, if you just have a bona fide center.
The thing about the receiver, though, is again, you have to look at it through the lens of, is he a punt returner? Because if he's an elite punt returner and an average receiver, I'm probably taking a good long look at it. Because we don't have anybody right now that's returning punts that we feel good about.
I know. Could have used that Russo kid from last year.
Yeah, he'll catch everything. Yeah. I like that kid.
Would have been a nice stopgap. Just catch the ball. That's all we
just
need.
Go over there and catch it. I can trust you to do that, right? Yep. And he did. In practice every week, he was like, he's a catching Jesse. ISF, you want to do amazing things. You have big visions and goals for the future. You work hard. You want to see that agency moving forward. You got unique challenges you got to navigate. It's inherent with government operations. We know this. They've been helping government clients solve for the future for over 4 decades, over 80 unique clients all across the country, serving on over 1,500 projects, and they're right here in our backyard in Tallahassee, Florida, with their expertise willing to collaborate with you. ISF.com to learn more. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department arrested a student for having a weapon on the Lincoln High School campus. TBD responded to the track fields at LHS around 4:14 p.m. after learning that a student was in possession of a gun. The student came back to LHS with a handgun after a physical fight with another student. The 16-year-old student was arrested and charged with possession on school property. Florida State University announced Monday a ban on TikTok and 5 other social media devices. The university joins a slew of other campuses, including Florida A&M University, in blocking access to the popular video sharing app on university Wi-Fi and wired devices. FSU officials said the move is to protect students and staff. The statement said TikTok and other apps bring an unnecessary risk to users because of their connection to foreign governments. TikTok is owned by Chinese-based internet technology company ByteDance. TikTok is already banned on U.S. government devices, and the Biden administration is considering a nationwide ban. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with highs around 87. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies again tonight, lows around 67. 88 tomorrow, slight chance for scattered storms. Chance for scattered storms Saturday, chance for scattered rain showers on Sunday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the 3rd one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse?
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Woo!
It's a damn good beer, huh?
All right. You had the coffee clip?
For closers?
I must say.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. That's an old school
That's
clip.
one of my favorites.
It's one of the best.
Mm-hmm. Hovland, 7 under through 16. Schauffele, 5 under through 16. Scott, 5 under through 15. Your leaders atop the board. In the clubhouse, your leader is Shane Lowry at -4. Good day for Shane. Good guy, too. John Rahm is still 4 under through 14. Brooks Koepka steady at 4 under as well. And here comes Sam Burns, Tom's guy.
Yeah.
4 under. I like Chris Kirk a lot. He's 3 under. I had him last week, but not this week. Thanks, Chris. Although Chris played well last week.
Bet I do, Chris.
Not surprised to see old Keegan Bradley and Hideki Matsuyama. Now, Matsuyama obviously a 2 under and a past champion, but Keegan Bradley plays all right around here.
The skeleton formerly known as Phil Mickelson is in the red figures.
Really worried about him. Looks like damn death every time you look at him. He's so ashamed of himself, as he should be.
2 under through 9.
I know. Wayne had a cool $150 out here throwing it around.
If this is the leaderboard you give me on a Saturday and a Sunday, though, this is outstanding.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Now, before we get to probables, I do want to tell you about my boys at Power Mill. You got a young tyke, little boy, little girl, softball, baseball, whatever it might be. You want to get the most out of their ability. They want to get the most out of their ability because who doesn't? Baseball and softball, hard games to play, but more fun to play when you know what you're doing. And that is what Power Mill training can help you do, equip your players and motivate your athletes who are focused on baseball and softball with specific tools to reach their true potential. That's all we want for our kids in general. So I would suggest swinging on by over there and checking it out. Book a lesson, kind of get a feeling, a workout with them. They'll analyze your swing, and we'll go from there. It's not golf. It's baseball or softball, Power Mill. And they are, of course, our friends sponsoring Probables. So if you would, sir, cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Red Sox lead the Tigers 6-3. They're probably glad they're not playing the Pirates, who swept their ass. Chris Sale started today for the Red Sox. Spencer Turnbull started for the Tigers. Toronto leads Kansas City 3-0. They're in the third. That is Kevin Gossman and Jordan Lyles. Lyles, formerly a Pirate, where he sucked. San Francisco 4, White Sox 2 in the second. High scoring, Alex Wood, Lance Lynn. Nats, Rockies, Josiah Gray, Kyle Freeland. Padres, Braves, Blake Snell, Spencer Strider. Dodgers, D-backs, Dustin May, Merrill Kelly. Marlins, Mets got rained out. Mets home opener off the books.
And it didn't rain.
What happened?
They were scared of the thought of the rain. So they'll play tomorrow.
Dumb. Edward Cabrera, Tyler McGill will start when they play tomorrow. Reds, Phillies got postponed as well. Hunter Green, Zach Wheeler. Phillies going for just their second win of the year. Yankees, Orioles also postponed. Clark Schmidt. Dean Creamer going for the Orioles, and that is a look at those that stop it. Shall reside on the bump. What do we have left? I'm supposed to say goodbye?
A minute and a half.
Minute and a half.
It's got to come back to earth, right? The scoring out here at Augusta. It's got to.
Well, when the rain and the cold comes, perhaps that is exactly what will happen. But we got, golly, you got 3 guys at 5 under, 1 at 8 under. Cam Young is 8 under? That can't be right.
No.
That's wrong. Yeah, they screwed it up. When ESPN, I found a flaw. When somebody birdies, it doubles whatever their number is. So he was at -4. It went to -8, and then it temporarily sat there for 5 seconds and went back down to -4.
Yeah, -4 is accurate. Yes.
Yeah. It just doubles what they say they are.
So Tiger birdied 15 and 16.
There we go, LT Gray.
He's got a 18-20 footer to get back to even par.
So here's the pressure, though. Now think about this, because if you're just now getting out there and you're on number 4, you're on number 5, like Rory McIlroy and like Dustin Johnson and like Tony Finau and Tommy Fleetwood, guys who have high aspirations at this tournament, Sung J.M., you name it, right? You're looking around and you're seeing a -7, a -5, a -5, a -5, and 4 others at -4 with time to play on the course and birdie holes await.
Yep.
You're saying, okay, I may not lose this tournament today, but I may play my way to where, I got it. At best, I'm a top 10 because I'm going to be 10 strokes back if I don't start birdieing some holes.
Dominant from John Rahm. Double bogey the first. He's 5 under for the tournament. 7 under since then.
Too bad that double counts. Good work, sir. Thank you, Matthew. Be well, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.